Good morning, everybody. It's time for morning manna. And this morning is all about turning to thanks. Turning to thanks. How many of you are looking forward to Thanksgiving? Well, in a couple of weeks, we'll be there. And I just thought that we might give a little bit of a preliminary of that whole sense because so often we wait until just that day. And then after that day, no more thanks. We're moving into getting stuff and buying stuff and to the holiday spirit and all of that. But how about let's build up to it? Let's build up to it. I always give a trailer of the message on this Sunday. And so this Sunday, I want to give you a little bit of a trailer, not too much. I want to tease you just a little bit, but turn toward thanks. Turn toward thanks. Want to greet some folk and then jump right into the manna on this morning. What a great morning it is. A little chilly here, at least in the St. Louis metropolitan area on the east side of the river. But let's greet some folk. Good morning, Ramona. How are you on this morning? Ori, how are you? Elder Mobley, how are you doing on this morning? Pamela, how are you on this morning? Deacon Joe, how are you doing on this morning? Lydia, how are you on this morning? Angela, how are you doing on this morning? Brenda, how are you on this morning? Verena, how are you? Vaughn, how are you on this morning? Brother Pope, how are you? Francine, how you doing on this morning? Elder Jan, how are you? Vicky, how are you? Elder Mobley, you're doing well, I hope. And Jacqueline, how are you on this morning? Dawn, how are you on this morning? Brother Nesbitt, how are you? Ashton, how you doing on this morning? Linda, how are you? CC, how are you? Fawn, how are you? Pastor Richard, we're praying for you. Carolyn, how are you doing on this morning? Arlene, how are you on this morning? Great morning that it is. Bev, Tally, how are you on this morning? Let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. And that is, let's turn toward thanks. It's in a couple of weeks, but it doesn't hurt to start right now because typically we wait, we get to that day, we enjoy it, and then we move on. So I'm going to give you the text to talk to take away 5 minutes or less. Here we go. The text is at Luke 22:19, the NIV translation. And he took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given for you. This do in remembrance of me." Do it in remembrance of me. Well, let's talk a little bit about this meal. This meal is the Passover meal or the Paschal meal, the meal that was done in remembrance of them coming out of 430 years of bondage and moving into liberation and the promises of God. Now, bitter herbs and all of those things were to conjure up all of that they went through. But now Jesus takes this meal and he conforms this meal to a present day and a future outlook, not just a remembrance. So there's three things I want you to grab out of this, and that is pass the legacy. Pass the legacy. Friends and family will gather. Friends and family will gather. It's going to be a wonderful time. We do all kinds of talk. Nobody can talk about you like family. Trust and believe. Family can come up with some stuff that you had hoped that everybody forgot, but in the middle of that wonderful meal and in the middle of everybody gathering, there's people laying on the floor, bent over, laughing about various things. Pass the legacy. Pass the legacy. Then remember this: pass the thanks. Pass the thanks. Don't pass the potatoes. Pass the thanks. Pass the thanks because it is what we gather for. And as I said, I'm just going to a little bit of a trailer. I want you to get ready and remember this to keep this in mind. Don't just gather so quickly in a couple of weeks and then move on into Christmas and all. But remember that. Pass the legacy, pass the thanks, not the potatoes, not the yams, not the greens, not all of that. That's going to be all of that. All that's going to be good. The sweet potato pie, not the pumpkin pie. Just all of that. Then pass the worship. Pass the worship. This meal is in the text is a meal about worshiping and thanking him and giving God glory. So in the midst of all of the things, let's turn toward being thankful. Let's turn toward being thankful because you have a lot to be thankful for. You do. All you got to do is have a memory. That's all you got to do. So today, tomorrow, not just Thanksgiving, take this away. Turn and be thankful. Turn from whatever you're going through and be thankful. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Just a little bit of a, just a little bit of a tease. It's going to be good. You already know the word on this coming Sunday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you next Monday, or Monday rather, with more morning manna. Share the manna. Don't keep it to yourself. Bye now.